My family did not have a lot of money. We lived in a trailer, as I've talked about many times, up until I was like halfway through junior high.
Mhm.
And I can remember eating things like bologna sandwiches. So if you're interested in eating a bologna sandwich, which I don't necessarily recommend, you should know that you have to take the slice of bologna, and before you put it in the skillet, you need to make 3 little cuts. Well, lay flat, otherwise it just domes up. And then, of course, you put uh, you put ketchup on it and serve it with white bread. And I ate that many times growing up.
Yeah.
I don't think I've eaten it for like 40 years,
Uh-huh.
but it's cheap. If you can't afford other meat, buying some bologna, if that's the only thing in your budget, I can understand perfectly why somebody would think this is what we're having for dinner tonight because I've got several children to feed and I just don't have enough money to buy chicken or beef or something like
Right, and we've talked about this before. There are
that.
kind of 2 ways of looking at it, right? And I wanna kinda, like, ask you more about this, the idea of what people don't understand about cooking and food production when you don't have a huge amount of money. On the one hand, there's lots of recipes, like, like you're showing us something that could be made quite cheaply. There are, you can make rice and beans. There's all kinds of things you can make, but it does assume having time. It assumes having, right, kitchens, having equipment, having going out and having the time to prepare and get, all of your ingredients and things like that. So on the one hand, cooking at home, it's very doable and there's all kinds of, sort of low cost recipes, but it does assume an infrastructure around you that gives you time. So there's that. And then there's the other idea that we criticize people who don't have a lot of money for eating like things like that, like a bologna sandwich or fast food or whatever it is, because it's actually just cheaper and easier because we've subsidized all the food. So yeah, I
There's
want to see what you thought about that.
there's a lot of shame around people's diets, and it's also used as a cultural signifier. And
Mhm.
we're joking about caviar and truffles, but honestly, you don't have to go straight to caviar and truffles to be
Oh.
signal. There's a lot of things, and I'm thinking one time when a friend of mine hired someone that I had worked with that I knew was not a particularly high income person, but
Mhm.
was very, very organized. So my friend who works with very high net worth clients in her business, or someone to help her in the office, and I said, "You should hire Susan, we'll call her," because and Susan actually she really whipped my friend's office into shape. But so out of like happiness with this, my friend said she's going to take Susan out to eat to this one local restaurant, and it's one that I really like, and it's not a fancy place, but it's a little bit of an alternative type place with art painted onto the walls and things.
Mhm.
And like, "Oh god, their hummus is so good, make sure you have their hummus." And Susan had never had hummus.
Mhm.
To me, hummus is like peanut butter.
Uh-huh.
But, I didn't grow up eating hummus. I learned about hummus as an adult. It's